YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. Please consider joining my family by subscribing. And if you are returning, wherever you are in the world right now, just know that everything's gonna be okay. Alright, so this week's video is a back to school video, as it is back to school season. So I will be giving high school advice as a high school senior. I feel like I'm qualified enough now to give someone high school advice. So without further ado, let's get into the video. First, we are going to start with the more boring stuff, the generic like grades, teachers, classes, etc. So first I'm going to start with grades. So overall what I have to say is you need to stay on top of your grades and set goals for yourself. If you mess up with, one grade on a test or just like one semester grade, it's not the end of the world. Everything is circumstantial anyway. If you're unhappy with a grade, you can always go to the teacher and see if there are any extra credit options, if you can retake a test, and it doesn't hurt to ask. Like, you'd just be in the same circumstance even if you didn't ask. So you might as well just ask. Grades do matter because they affect college admissions outcomes if you're going to apply to college, but one bad grade in like a math class isn't going to ruin your chances. Alright, so next I'm going to be talking about classes. The biggest piece of advice I can give you about classes is to get all of your required high school classes out of the way as soon as you can, because it will mess up your schedule later and it might prevent you from graduating. So don't put it off, don't procrastinate taking this class. On the other end of the spectrum, once you can, taking classes that you're actually interested in is very important. It will make school much more enjoyable for you and you will actually be passionate about something you're learning about. So if you can, if your school offers, classes, cool electives that you're interested in, go ahead and take them. My next piece of advice is to take challenging classes to push yourself. Look into APs, honors classes you're interested in. Not only does it look good to colleges if you choose to go that route, it also teaches you time management, hard work, and self-discipline. Okay, and the last basic academic category I have for you is teachers. So my advice to you is to be nice to your teachers. No, that doesn't mean sucking up to them. You don't need to be the teacher's pet. Just be considerate of your teachers because they have lives outside of school just like you do, and they're not being paid enough to deal with us all day. There will be teachers that you don't like. I've had teachers I didn't like, and there will be teachers who don't teach, but they're still on the other side of the spectrum. There will be teachers that you love. So my biggest tip is to create a good relationship with your teachers. All it takes is an email or a simple conversation with them. Trust me, this will help when you're struggling because you've already talked with them before, so they're more willing to help you. Also, they're your teachers, so they can save your grade. They're the one dictating your performance, so if you come forward to them, they're the ones who can change your grade. Sometimes you will also find a friend in some of your teachers. I have, and it's a really cool relationship to have. Those relationships are one in a million, honestly. Not to mention, creating a good relationship with your teacher is essential for getting recommendations if you're applying to colleges later on. So go ahead and get that out of the way. Just be nice to your teachers and it'll pay off. thing I'm going to be talking about are extracurriculars. So my advice to you is to explore lots of extracurriculars and you'll find your fit. Extracurriculars are the best way to meet and become friends with people outside of the people you see in your classes anyway. It's a great experience to be a part of a club, and who knows, it could change your life. It could give you a hint to like a career that you maybe want to go into. If you can't find an extracurricular that fits for you, there's another option. You can start a club. This process isn't actually that hard. I've looked into it and I actually have the paperwork. You just need a teacher sponsor and you need student signatures so they know that people are interested in the club. Next, if sports are your thing or if you just want to try out, just go ahead and try out. Even if you're put on JV, if you stick with it, you will most likely be moved up to varsity by the time you're a junior or a senior, just because loyalty really matters. My next piece of advice, once you've been in a club, is to run for office. So one, it gives you public speaking experience, and two, there's a chance that you will get elected. So you have to look into as well, oh, do I have to give a speech in front of the whole school, or do I just need to be elected by the club sponsor and the club members? But I would highly recommend it if you just want to be more involved in a club. However, if being an officer is too much of a time commitment, but you still want to be more involved than just a normal member, you should see if your club has an executive council or executive board. The other extracurricular option is to get a job. So I have a lot of friends who have jobs. I have no experience in this except for, filling out resumes and thinking about getting jobs. But it's great for work experience, making friends, and of course, what everyone wants, making money. So if that's your thing, I would go ahead and do it. So next, we have school events, and I have been a part of SEA since freshman year, so I'm obviously going to be vouching for you to go to school events like homecoming, prom, football games, concerts, pep rallies, of course. These are the things that you remember for years to come. These are the things that are put in those cliche high school movies. This is what everyone talks about. Even if you're hesitant on going, I'd say just go once, and if you don't like it, it's no big deal. But most likely, you will end up having a good time. It doesn't matter if you show up alone, without a date, or without friends. That's how I showed up to freshman homecoming. I didn't go with friends, I didn't go with a date, and I made friends that night, and I hung out with them all night. And I hadn't known them before. And that is probably my favorite homecoming I have ever been to. I would highly encourage going to these school events because they're just a fun experience and you get to meet a bunch of people and show your school spirit. That might seem cheesy, but really there is a lot of school spirit, and once you've graduated, there's nothing like it. Now I'm going to move on to giving some online school advice, as most of us are going back to school virtually this year, or in some sort of hybrid method. So my tip is to have a study space, a set-aside space for you to do your work. This is my desk, this is where I do my work. I don't do my work on my bed. I don't do my work where I watch TV, where I play games, because if you associate the place with work, then you're more likely to be productive. So please separate your areas of leisure and work. My next tip is to schedule everything. So in this time of uncertainty, I feel like the only thing we're really grasping onto is some sort of routine, some sort of schedule. So if you implement a routine, if you implement some sort of schedule, then things will work and life won't seem so chaotic. Another tip I have is to make sure you're going to Zoom meetings when you can, not just to get the course load, not just to get work from your teachers or because you have to. Go to them and you will feel better after you go to them. Every time I go on a Zoom meeting with someone, with my classmates that I haven't seen since we got locked down, it puts me in a better mood just interacting with people that aren't in my house normally, that I haven't been stuck with for months. Make sure you're going to your Zoom meetings, your lectures, make sure you are getting your work done still, and it will get better. We will go back and do a little check-in with yourself every so often, and make sure you're all good before going back and doing work, because I know it is a really stressful time right now. So my tip for you guys is just to have a system, stick with it. We're gonna get through this. It's going to be fine. We will go back in person eventually. So just take a breath and let go all of the stress and the unknown about the school year, and just know that people are working to make this better, and we will get through this, and we will have a successful school year. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope what I said was helpful. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. My social media will be in the description box below and also in my outro. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Hey.